Hi, I'm Jeremiah. Welcome to Up at Night. This podcast is all about learning from thought leaders, academics, and professionals based on one fundamental question. What keeps you up at night? Hi, everyone. Welcome to Up at Night. Today, I'm super excited to have Maude Belval, who is with me. Maude is not only the co-founder of Wavency Media, which is an agency based in Montreal, but she's also the chair and in the board of director of ACREA, which is the Association of Content Creators of Quebec. And I really want to talk about that. She's also, because she's not busy enough, in charge of producing the known gala Influence Création. And thank you so much for taking a bit of time to be with me today, Maude. How are you doing?
I'm so happy to be here. Thanks to you. How are you doing?
Great. I'm glad. So I want to dive right into it because your day must be crazy busy. Where did all that passion about marketing, and especially as it evolved through time, social media came from?
At first, I started as a graphic designer a few years ago before having my marketing firm. So at that time, the role of social media manager was emerging. It was new. So I was very curious about that kind of subject. And I think I watched every YouTube video or content creation or Facebook ads on the internet. So after a few months working at a firm, my boss offered me an opportunity to start a new content creation division. So I accepted that kind of challenge. However, just a few months after COVID happened, so since my role was largely focusing on sales and development, it was considered at risk. So I had to think about what I'm going to do. So I decided to start my own company. After a few months, I realized that I needed help. So that's where I met my associate, GM. So we worked together for a while. And after a few months, we decided to create Wavency. So that's why, like, at first, as a graphic designer, social media wasn't like a thing. And now everything is changing. So content creation and stuff, it's becoming, every role is the new field.
Yeah, it's true. And so going back to this, I'm trying to go in your mindset at the time because, like you said, social media at the beginning was fairly new. There were like Facebook and Instagram mainly, right?
Yeah.
Snap was slowly getting there. Um, when you approached it the first time, what was in your mind when you were saying, "Oh, this has potential, and I think I want to go into it"? Because you developed a passion for it, a passion big enough for it to make a living. And the reason I want to go there is because probably, I guess, some of the people in the audience are going through the same process. Might be today about AI, might be about something else. But what was your mindset at that time?
That's a good question. I think I realized that people I was working with had like degrees in marketing and didn't know about anything about like digital marketing. It was completely new. So when I talked about Facebook ads and advertising, and that was an opportunity for a company, people were not able to help, even if they had like a degree in marketing. So I was just like, there's an opportunity there 10 years ago, approximately, to start something new and help people grow online. That like
So true.
AI, I think, yeah.
Yeah, that's where I want to go because there is definitely some people out there in the marketing world that didn't follow trends and, have tremendous amount of experience in technologies and applications that are not really as relevant as they were before because well, let's put it this way, being an expert in radio and television is great, but if that's the only thing you knew, what are you going to do tomorrow, right? Do you think that's going to continue in marketing or maybe out of field? And how would you encourage people, or how do you encourage people in your team to stay at the forefront, to be up to date?
I think it's a good challenge, but it's also a risk when you're in marketing because everything is changing so fast. So you need to adapt every day and you need to be aware of what is going to happen in the next few months or even in the next few weeks. So you need to read article, you need to be there, like you need to meet other people in that kind of field. So yeah, I think it's a big challenge because AI is going to replace some things we do. It already does, like writing email and stuff. I'm sure you're using it a lot too. So you just need to adapt. It will be all about adaptation. But like TV is changing into social media. Social media will change for something else in the future. So we don't know yet, but we need to be aware if it's coming for us.
Being prepared to adapt.
Prepare to adapt.
One thing you mentioned that I really liked from the get-go, when you decided to build your own agency and start on your own, you rapidly, from my understanding, said, "Oh, I need some help." How did you identify that, and where did you went to get that help? When did you decide to co-found rather to employ, and how did you make sure it was the right fit?
That's a good question. I think it was a feeling, but like for the competence, because I was creative as a graphic designer, it was easy for me to do content creation. But when it was about advertising and doing campaign with ads, I had a hard time understanding like all the statistic, and I wanted to make sure my clients receive the best service. That's why I just asked my accountant one day, like, "Do you know someone that is doing like Facebook ads campaign?" And she happened to know someone, and that's my associate now. So after a few months of like freelancing, we decided like I think we should work together. We are a good fit, and we create Wavency like a few months after.
I love that, what you just said. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs don't take the time before going into all the paperwork to just test out how it works. Be a freelancer, have another freelancer next to you, and work together, see how it goes before, so to speak, starting something as important as a business, right?
Yeah, because it's like a marriage, you need to be sure before.
That's a very good analogy. That's a very good analogy. Now, tell me, you're also on the board of ACREA. Where does that passion come from? So obviously you studied graphic design, so I'm sure it's something that comes from that. Um, do you like being on boards? How it is to be on boards? Because a lot of people must ask themselves this question.
It's a great challenge because it started with the gala influence creation, and after that, we create ACREA. So it was necessary to be able to represent content creators. I decided to return to school to learn more about the governance and like manage risk and stuff to be sure I can manage like being on board and on the board, and all of our teams is beginning to learn how to take this role seriously. I don't know if it's clear, but you need to make sure you represent the association well. So it's a great challenge, and I'm learning a lot. And I don't think it will be the last board I'm into because I really love it. But you need to learn a little bit more to be sure you take that because it's a lot of responsibility, and a lot of hours too, because it's charity at the end of the day. We're not paid to do everything in the association in ACREA and the Gala and Friends creation. It's all charity.
So one thing that strikes me, even still now, and I'm so happy about the work you did from a content creator standpoint. If I go back 5 years ago, it was really all over the place. Some people were charging, tremendous amount of money for very, very little content. Some others were clearly underpriced. They didn't know how much to charge. How did this evolve in the recent years, and how did you see the industry as a whole growing, and maybe also where it's going?
Yeah, because the term influencers, it's kind of new, but we are constantly influenced by everything around us, art, trends, value, people. And the term influencer, it might sound like something that we just heard, but the concept has been around forever. So I think it's gonna stay for long, but it's gonna change a little bit. So influence is no longer just for celebrities or major media. If you have a strong voice, you can create impact online, and that shift is powerful because if you believe you can influence someone, you can do it and use a good intention and a good purpose. It's like a movie recommendation, for example. It's like where you learn your new recipe and how you DIY your next furniture. So it's very good to follow a lot of people, but also you have like a lot of challenges to just, is that, are you following the right people? That's another subject. But I think it's the industry is gonna grow, but the the ACREA and influence creation is there to, obviously the gala is there to like being able to show people that are doing great work. And ACREA is there to be sure we heard them to their needs and be able to support them in their industry, because it's a new industry and everything is needs to be like built. It's really something that needs to be built with time.
Being involved at an agency level, where I don't want to use the term in a bad way, but where influencer become a product you sell, right? In a certain way, they're a catalyst to convey a message, and a very powerful catalyst to convey a message. So there's a certain criterias I do think or expect many customer asks. What would be the mistakes many influencer who wants to start to monetize their brand are doing today? Or what would be the right approach? Because you probably see so many of them.
Yeah, I think it's, first of all, some people are trying to be someone else just to promote things.
Mm.
So you need, if you want your content to work, you need to be yourself. That's the first thing that you need to do. And I think ACREA is there to help you know how much you need to charge, how do you protect yourself, what kind of product you can or you cannot like influence people with. I don't know if you heard about in France, they had a lot of laws right now for influencers because people were promoting like product that were bad for your health. So I think you need to have a critical mindset when you want to promote something online, because a lot of people are going to be influenced by you. So you have a responsibility as a content creator to make sure people are able to make the right decision if you're promoting something.
Yeah. No, I think that's that responsibility element has been missing for a long time.
Yeah,
It's good that organization like ACREA are there to support content creator.
yeah. And the agency are they too. You can have, if you're not able to like manage your, because being an influencer is also being like a freelancer or owning a little business, but you can hire an agent if you want help.
That's also a great advice.
Yeah.
For someone who really enjoy being in front of the camera, creating content and all, outside of, like you said, being yourself, because over time, if you're not, it's not going to work. What would be the three biggest advice you would give them if they want to not necessarily make it a full-time career, but something that they continue and make a bit of money with?
I think the first advice would be to find your field. So if you're doing like a cooking video and after that a lifestyle video and after that a travel video, it's gonna be maybe tough for some people to just follow what is your niche. So finding your niche is the first thing you need to do. And after that, just ask yourself what I want people to remember me. Like, do I want them to feel inspired, feel educated, feel like, I don't know, like jealous because some people that's their goal, unfortunately. So ask yourself, because it's really important. And if your content is growing, you're gonna have followers, and it's your responsibility to make them feel good. We hope so. Um, and for a second advice, just be sure you don't charge less than what the market is offering, because you're gonna reduce like for every other content creation creator. If you're charging less than the other one, the market is gonna decrease. So it's very important too. And this third thing, I think, is just like, as we said, being yourself, but asking for help, and be sure you understand the law. Because, for example, some people are, because they have like common project. They're doing a podcast together, but it's still like a small business. So you need a contract with them. You need to understand that if the business is if the podcast is growing, you're gonna have like sponsors, and how do you like manage the money and stuff. So you need to have a contract or a confidential contract. But I think it's a lot of go with the flow, but it's not supposed to be.
I want to go back to you as the owner and founder of Wavency, managing a lot of relationship with influencer. Obviously, your agency is known and wants to grow within that environment, which you're expert with. Does that add a layer of complexity because you're dealing with so many humans rather than, a typical trade desk or a typical pure paid ad platform? How do you manage that? How is it in the day to day?
We're not doing a lot of influence campaign at Wavency. We're more specialized in content creation and Facebook and LinkedIn advertising, TikTok advertising, because with the Gala and ACREA, we're talking with them a lot, and we want to separate the two services, and it's two different organizations, and we don't want to get involved in between them.
One with another.
Yes,
So would
exactly.
you say, and that's very interesting because my first reflex was to think because of all the experience, their agencies are have probably a core or way to manage that. Um, would you say it's better for a brand to pick their influencers themselves and really, like you said, using the support a third party organism like IKEA have, is probably better for the brand because they know what their value, their mission is, and they can pick the influencer individually. Do you think that's probably a better approach?
If you have someone in marketing in your
Mm.
company, I think it's a good approach. If you don't have someone and you're just like the founder, maybe it's better to hire an agency that knows your needs and stuff. But so it really depends of the kind of company you have.
Okay, okay, that's very interesting. So let's talk about a bit about the gala. Where the idea started to, oh, we're gonna do an event and we're going to try to have all the people who create content in the province because I think it's the biggest one in Quebec, right?
I hope so, but I
I
think so.
think so, right? So where the idea emerged to bring all content creators together, and what was the purpose of the gala?
One thing we always say with Wavency is we like to be in the middle of the conversation. So it was the idea at first just to understand that industry and being able to be in the middle of the conversation. So at first, my associate and I talked about maybe a festival or something that can create a community between creators and they can be able to exchange ideas. Maybe sponsor can be there to recruit some content creators, and after a few weeks, we talked with Anto, which is one of the biggest content creator in Quebec, and he said that okay, I think that's a great idea. But when we talked about we thought about it, we were like, maybe if they don't have a good reason to come to our festival, they're not gonna be there because, it's not because you're able to share and create content online that you're not shy in person, and that's the thing we saw a lot. People are really shy in person, and so one day I just woke up and I was like, we need to do a gala. I think if we have trophies and stuff, people are going to come. So we create a theme. We invited one of my closest friend as she specializes in sponsorship. So she joined us to just create the gala. And at first we were like, it's going to be a tiny event. It's going to be fine. And we were like a little bit stupid, I think. And it just grow and still growing right now. So we're pretty proud of us for that.
Congrats, because yeah, it's a really nice event and one event that I think the industry really needed.
Yeah.
Um, so you've been in business for quite a bit of time now. What was the one single thing that you had to deal that you were really not expecting? And you were like, wow, I have to adapt. And that was tough. And I was not prepared for that.
Mm, I talked about it earlier, like the fact that I was creating a c- and division of content creation in the other agency I was working with. So I was like an entrepreneur at first, but the fact that I was let go because of the pandemic, it was really rough at the time. But I think being an entrepreneur is all about roller coaster. You know, one day you're riding high on a win, and the next you're doubting everything because something didn't go as planned. So there's no blueprint, there's no guaranteed outcome, just your vision and your ability to adapt. So I think that was the moment I was like, I put I put so much effort in something and now it's just gone. And it wasn't because of my choice. And but right now I think I have the choice to decide everything I want to do. So it's become easier right now than it was before. So a lot of people are starting a business out of passion because they love something. And as I said before, I think when you love something, it's easy to start a business, but it's different because, for example, if you like fashion and you're starting a website, you're not gonna create just fashion. You're gonna do accounting. You're gonna need to do finances, admin stuff. So that's I think the big challenge because people are starting a new project and I'm gonna live with I, I'm gonna live with my passion, but it's not. You're gonna do it a lot more than that.
Multitasking is definitely something you got to get very good at when you start,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
All right. Um, what is the next step for Wavency? Where do you see the company evolving in the upcoming month and years?
Yeah, that's a good question. We just celebrate our 4th year anniversary. So looking
Congrats.
ahead, thank you. Looking ahead, the next big goal for us is to keep growing, but in a way that stays true to who we are. So we want to reach more people, make bigger marketing campaign, have bigger impact, and keep building something meaningful, not just bigger. So most of all, seeing our team loving what they do, that's something we really, really want. Creating a space where people feel proud, inspired, excited to show up every day. That's a huge part of the dream of my associate and I. So just keep growing. I think we're ready to that.
I want to ask you, celebrating over 4 year in business, if you had the chance to go back and talk to yourself the first month you started a business, what would you tell your younger self? Like, oh, be careful about this, or just don't do that. What would it be?
I think it's like not everything needs to be perfect. Like whether it's work decision or personal stuff, I often think about whether I'm doing enough or if I'm on the right track. So sometimes I'm worried about making mistakes, but guess what? Everyone does. So missing something important or not living up to my own expectation, but it's not always like big dramatic things. But I think you just like go for it and not everything needs to be perfect, and I struggled a lot doing that. And, like for me talking English right now it's one of the example
You're doing
I
great.
thank you, but you know I really learned English 4 years ago. I know in Quebec we learn English as old, but it's not really like that.
It's not great.
So I know I'm not perfect, but not everything needs to be perfect, I think.
That's a good way to go by. Speed often beats perfection, and your capacity to adjust to situation is just so important when you're in business. What are the things that keeps you up at night these days, Maude?
um I think the pressure because of the gala, it's very demanding every year. We want to do better and better and better. And, you know, when you have to manage two organizations at the same time, you want to put lots of effort in everything, but doing everything at the same time is not possible. So I want to be there for my team. I want to be there for both teams. But I can't really do like that. So keeping my mental health great. It's something I've been working on, but it's doing great. But I think it's something I need to work more on that and just being able to relax a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah. There's a great advice that I've heard saying that people often say time is the most precious resource, but time without energy is already a waste.
Yeah.
So, like you said, to keep that psyche up, to have that energy, to be able to support our teams and the people around us is probably as equally important as having the time to do it.
Yeah, and it's important to celebrate the small wins. I think we forget that. So every little step forwards counts. And noticing progress, even if it's tiny, will keep you grow. So it's easy to forget how far we've come when you're always focusing on your next goal. So that's why I try to pause and notice what's going well. Even small wins will help me moving forward.
I agree. I agree. Mode, one thing we see nowadays is that social media seems to have a huge impact on how the youth and other people perceive success. Um, a lot of people are also complaining that social media is kind of the reason why some people feel depressed or contribute to that sentiment of emptiness. What are your thoughts about that?
One hand, it connects us. If we didn't have social media or FaceTime through the pandemic, it will be very difficult to reach our family. So it allows us to build communities, share knowledge, and even launch business from scratch. But also, most of the time, only people only shows the best part of their lives. So the wins, the vacations, the happy moments. So we don't always see the struggle and the hard work behind the scene. And when we compare our everyday life to someone else perfect post, it can make us feel like we're not doing enough. So is it making people feel more fulfilled? I don't think it's always the case. It really depends of how you're using it. And something I'm used to say is you are responsible for the kind of content you see. So, and that's very, very true. If the algorithm shows you what you like, is the algorithm which will the algorithm will show you what you like based of how much time you spend looking at certain things. So if your feed feels negative all the time, it's probably because that's the type of content you're consuming every day. So you need to stay on videos that are positive for you, and you're going to change your algorithm to have like better content.
So it's the responsibility of one to train somehow their algorithm for the
Yeah.
best. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and I
that's
made a
interesting.
test like a few months ago. I stayed on a video, like it was about a plane that disappeared
Uh,
for 30 years. And I stayed on the video because I knew it wasn't true. And after that, all the video that I had was about fake stories
Catastrophe,
and
fake
people were,
story.
yeah, exactly. And was fiction at the end of the day. But if I'm staying on cat's video, that's all I'm gonna see. So if you want to be able to consume TikTok and like being happy to consume social media, you need to stay on positive video because that's what the algorithm would show you after.
Mode, when is the next gala happening?
May 31st. Yeah.
It's happening soon.
Almost 2 months. I don't know where the podcast is gonna be online.
It's going to air prior to that, so we're going to be able to tell that. Is it still happening at La Tour, or where is it going to be? No,
À la Place Belle. It's,
at Place Belle. Okay,
yeah.
so it's going to be in up north this year.
Yeah, it's gonna be bigger too. So maybe
That's awesome.
1,040% people.
Wow, that's going to be wonderful. So, please, Mode, if people want to get information about that, they can go on obviously the website of Gala Influence Création. They can look online. ACREA, the ACREA also have a website, I think.
Yeah,
And obviously, if people have question or want to get in touch with you, LinkedIn is probably the best way
exactly. LinkedIn.
to go for. All right, good. So thank you so much for being with me today, Maude. I wish you good luck with the planification of the gala. I'm looking forward to hopefully attend this year because I wanted to attend for a couple of years. There always been something. But thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen in the upcoming month.
Thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much for being part of the Up at Night family. If you've liked what you heard today, don't forget to rate, follow, subscribe, or leave me a comment below. New episodes of Up at Night drop every week. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a single episode. I'm Jeremiah Curvers. Until next time.